Cybercrime is expected to cost the world about 17 trillion Aussie dollars by 2025, and hackers are getting more advanced every day and using automated bots to conduct scams like credential stuffing, credit card testing and data scraping. I caught up with Kevin Gosschalk, the CEO of Aussie cybersecurity company Arkose Labs, a little earlier.
Criminals are after one thing, ultimately, making money, right? So they're doing whatever it takes to make as much money as they possibly can. And typically that's defrauding businesses first and foremost, but then ultimately it's the consumers that are impacted by that, right?
We've got a chart we can put up from one of your cybercrime reports just showing the percentages of attacks that are happening in Australia and who's behind them. And it looks like automated bots is the main thing.
That's right. Yep.
So what is that exactly?
Yeah, so the Arkose Labs team are looking at threats from the big companies. So we're working with the big banks, the big telecoms, companies like that, social media platforms, video games, like all that kind of stuff we're protecting. And one of the big adversarial threats we see is big scale attacks, like a human going in and making one fraudulent account or trying to get into one customer's account. That's one scale. But if you can use a bot automation tools that can do it at millions of accounts instantaneously, obviously that's more profitable for the criminals. So that's what they're setting up.
So you got bots and then intelligent bots. So
Yep.
what's the difference between those two?
Yeah, so bots are really kind of things that can only do repetitive tasks. They're not very good at doing more complex things. As companies have seen more attacks, they've evolved their defenses, and in kind, we're now seeing far more sophisticated attacks from the adversaries where they can do things like mimic human behavior. They can go through and mimic what a user's kind of journey would look like going through a website. These things historically were easy to track. Now they look like the same thing. Humans and bots basically blur together now.
Well, yeah, you mentioned humans. There's a term I haven't heard before, human fraud farms,
Yep.
and they're apparently on the rise. What are they?
So fraud farms are basically hiring humans as a service, which sounds kind of strange. So the way bots work is they automate activities, but there are still certain steps in a web flow where you might want to have a human actually go in and do certain parts of that. You can basically purchase human labor at scale. These are people that work for like $1 per 1,000 times you ask them to do something kind of thing. And it's just a web console they have in front of them. And they do the action and they move on to the next action. They just keep doing this all day long.
Is it like click all the red traffic lights in the squares, things like that?
That's a good example. So that's an example. So CAPTCHA, which is what you're talking about, is meant to be something that can prove a human and a bot apart.
Yeah.
Guess what? Humans can solve them.
Sure.
So they hire humans to solve them at scale.
Look, we've seen a lot of big cyber attacks in Australia last 12 months. Medibank, Latitude Financial, Optus. Is it just getting more and more challenging for these big companies to lock down their data?
It's a good question. I think that is true. And the other downside of this is that data that's getting leaked is a really fresh source of information and then go use to make attacks with. So we actually see the attacks that occur after those breaches have happened. So the fraudsters are using all of that data to then go attack all the other Aussie businesses with that information to find ways into those accounts. So it's kind of a compounding effect as well.
We've got another chart we can put up just showing the origin of a lot of the cybercrime around the world. And what surprised me, I just presumed Russia and China would be number 1 and 2, but it looks like it's actually the US. That's the source of most of it.
So the source can change depending on attack types. We've seen China quite frequently as well. China's a pretty big one, actually, we go up against, as I'm sure people probably would assume.
Yeah.
But we actually see that in practice. A lot of the developers that are building software to try and circumvent Arkose and therefore compromise our customers, Chinese developers. We see Ukraine, we see Vietnam. But yeah, a lot of attacks themselves, the infrastructure, it's originating from places like the US. They compromise phones using malware. So when you download an app in the App Store, typically on Android phones, it may have a back door where they're actually able to send traffic through your phone and make attacks from it. That's a big issue in the US.
Credential stuffing, credit card testing, scraping, are these kind of the main key things that people are getting attacked with right now?
So in Australia, these are big ones we're seeing. So credential stuffing is where they're taking usernames and passwords from breaches like the ones you've mentioned, where people use the same username and password. That's just kind of, unfortunately, what people do. They shouldn't, but they do. And they use bots to go test those credentials on other websites and try and find, does someone else have the same username password combination? That attack we're seeing in huge scale happening across Australia. Card testing is where they're trying to find valid combinations for credit cards. So what fraudsters can purchase are basically bulk unvalidated credit cards. So these are just like the card number. Maybe they don't come with the street number and those other things that you need to fill in. And then they go use a bot and they go put them into payment pages and they try and guess the rest of the information. And then they can sell that to someone else who can then use it for credit card fraud. And then scraping has really been on the rise because of generative AI. So obviously earlier this year, ChatGPT launched, and on the back of that, we're now seeing a ton of AI startups. And what they need to train these AI models is huge data sets. And the best way to get huge data sets is to use bots, to go to websites, get all the information from the website, and then you can train these models with that information. So that's leading to a huge drive in attacks with scraping, because it's just more profitable now to use data.
Kevin Gosschalk, Chief Executive of Arkose Labs, thanks so much for your time.
Thank you very much.